If you've got cash to burn, we have luxury vehicle picks for you. It's now time to talk about our 2024 Luxury Car of the Year winner. But before we get to the exact winner, let's talk about the runners up and talk about why they did not make the top of the list. Roll us through the runners up there, Travis.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have quite an interesting list. I think we've got some SUVs and some sedans. We have quite a representation in the electric realm as well. So, in no specific order here on the runner ups, we have the Acura MDX Type S. We have the Genesis electrified GV70. We have the BMW 7 Series and the i7, kind of combining those two. And then we have the Mercedes EQS SUV.
Yep, and sort of taking these, I guess, maybe in order of bottom to top. In my mind, I actually ended up putting the GV70, electrified GV70, and the MDX Type S sort of on equal footing here. I think that for some shoppers, there is this question: is Acura a luxury brand? I'll let you answer that in a second, and then simultaneously with that, is Genesis a luxury brand yet, or is one aspiring, etc.?
So I think between the two, the is Acura a luxury brand? I feel is a more accurate question, or a more specific question to the what is the model bringing that qualifies as luxury. It's more premium than the Honda product line that it's similar to or based off of. I do think that the performance that they are bringing with especially with the Type S models, is the focus right now. They are trying to become the sportier premium or sportier luxury. I don't know if it's critical, but they are certainly the more expensive Honda version. They do bring, I think, a better product. It's got a better presence to it. It's more sophisticated. I think that's something we look for in a luxury segment. So whether it is or isn't, I do think it's still a compelling product. And the Type S would be my favorite of the MDXs. I think on the other side of it, Genesis is sort of going for an understated approach. Again, they have a very sleek, sophisticated exterior on most of their vehicles. What I think they've done very well with this GV70 is electrify it, because I think in general, the luxury segment lends itself to electrification. I think when we're looking at some of the features that you can do from a mobile app that provides to a luxury experience, that includes things like scheduling when your car heats or cools itself. That's I don't have to do it, so it feels like a feature. It's the super auto climate control. When you look at some of the things that people like in their expensive vehicles as a quiet ride, and because the engine's not making any noise, I think that lends itself that direction as well. And we're also seeing a lot more technology or technology features or high tech feel to some of these things. So more screens or more light bars or whatever these pieces are, that I do think Genesis has done very well. Between the two of these, would say that the Acura would go fourth. Genesis would be up there in third. I would lend myself towards the Genesis direction. I think it's fairly sleek. There is there's some extra, not just features but also experience that comes with
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
That people are paying for. If you pay more money, you want more experience, and so I'm impressed with both of them. I think they're great products, but between the two, I would definitely go with the Genesis electrified GV70.
Yeah, I think if I was hard pressed, I might actually go that direction too. I would say that if you're thinking about luxury out there, viewers, you should know that the Genesis dealer network is generally less developed than the Acura dealer network. So whereas Acuras are all standalone dealers, if you go to buy a Genesis in a large part of the U.S., you're going to be at a showroom inside a Hyundai dealer. There are standalone Genesis dealers that are absolutely top notch. I was actually recently able to tour one in New Jersey, and they are really, really top of the line facilities and ownership experiences. But that is not the way most Genesises are transacting now. So that is kind
Yeah,
of an
and
interesting twist. And
I'd say, and in
you
the luxury segment, that dealership experience is
yeah.
either very critical or entirely
Hmm.
unimportant because you don't visit the dealership.
Right.
Do let us know what you think is part of the luxury experience. We want to hear from you as well.
Yep, definitely. Because you can, of course, do your Genesis buying online, get it picked up for service, etc. You don't have to go to the dealer. But that is one of those knocks that I have heard against Genesis. Also, they're not quite a full line luxury brand yet. So Genesis is trying to compete in a bunch of different segments. They're trying to do this in a more head on fashion to the Germans than actually, arguably, Lexus is with their lineup. Because up till now, everything Genesis has done has been on a rear wheel drive platform that has not been directly shared with a Hyundai or Kia in that same way. So, like Stinger and K900 are related to the Genesis lineup in a tangential way, but they're not simply rubber stamp copies. Like we find with the Lexus TX and the Grand Highlander, the RX, and some of the other models. And of course, they've never made a front wheel drive car, so it kind of puts it in a different category.
Yeah.
But obviously, in that category are the two German options.
Yeah, so I think the next step for us, and I get one of these runner ups, is that BMW 7 Series and the
Hmm.
i7. One of the questions of are you a luxury brand is, do you have a full size sedan? And this definitely checks that box.
Yep, because this is, of course, that full size sedan. It also has a ginormous full size LCD in the back that's optional. It's like stretches from one rear window to the other practically. But the i7 is on this list because if you're looking for that quintessential German luxury sedan that says I've arrived and it's comfortable and it does all the things that you expect it to do, handles well, nice and fast, very quiet, etc. Oddly enough, my top pick is the 7 Series, a bit over the S Class. I know that it's a little bit buck-toothed for some people, but I really like the interior and the feature set, and I do like the fact that BMW is giving us multiple different engine options, including plug-in hybrids and EVs in essentially the same format.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those vehicles that you get whatever variety of it you want. I do think the sedan is a dying breed, and so it's great to see attractive, well thought out, dedicated sedans. And I like the boxy features of it while still feeling like a sleek machine. But if you want that rear cargo volume and you say, I don't want to plug it in ever, there's an option. If you say, hey, I don't need to carry around a big battery, but I love my commute being totally electrified, there's an option. And if you say, I'm done with gas forever and ever, the i7 doesn't feel like you're really sacrificing anything from the other two to go electric. And I think that's one of the best options is when you don't really have to give anything up to pick one of these features.
Yeah, indeed. And that brings us to our winner, which is the Mercedes Benz EQS. Because as much as I do like the fact that we have those three different drivetrain options in the BMW, Mercedes has gone in a very different direction and a very different engineering and thought process going behind this, which is if we're going to electrify a vehicle and we're going to put it on a dedicated platform, then we can reimagine everything about this luxury vehicle. And that's truly what the EQS is. It's 21st century reimagined GLS. And Mercedes decided not to just pigeonhole it into one particular model or call it a trim line within something else. So this is an EQS SUV, which is a distinct model, and you can Maybach it, you can AMG it, you can get rear-wheel drive ones, all-wheel drive ones, performance ones, ones that cost over $200,000. The world is your oyster with EQS.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is the totally electrified reimagining of the GLS, but key differentiator between the Genesis GB70 is it's not an electrified GLS. It is its own machine with its own mini family and its own variety. And I think there are more pros than cons. If you said I want a GLS but I want it electric, this isn't that offering. But I do think it's a better vehicle because it hasn't made some of those sacrifices. And again, when you hop in the vehicle and it has feel and personality, and you can program things like your lights for different moods and times. I think that's something that I would look for in more of a high tech luxury versus a stitched everything, the champagne glasses that come with it. That would be what I lean towards, and I think the Mercedes has plenty of that, while also having some of the opulence that you're familiar with some of the higher end models. I haven't checked the option list for that Maybach. It's not the one on our list, but I'm sure you can get some matching glasses with that.
Yeah, the Maybach is fantastically expensive, but that's kind of, in a way, kind of the reason that the EQS is on this list is that Mercedes thought of that entire luxury segment that they service with the S-Class and the GLS. And they thought, well, how do we make a product that can be appealing to our core customer base? And they understand their customer base quite well. They know that the average EQS SUV shopper, if you're spending $150,000, $180,000 on this is not your only car. So, range is a little bit less of a concern for some of these shoppers than the luxury features and content on the inside. EQS SUV is not the road trip answer for these shoppers because maybe they're flying, a private jet share or something like that to somewhere. And then there's another EQS that's picking them up on the other end. So, their kind of road trip car is much shorter in net. And if they did want to take a fun driving road trip somewhere, statistically, they've got a ton of other cars to choose from. So they're not necessarily using this one thing for that purpose. So let us know what you think of that down there in the comment section below. And did we err by choosing the EQS? Should we have picked something else on this list, off this list, etc.? Let us know what you think. Find us over at Facebook, X, Instagram, all the other social places. See all of you in the next video where we're going to talk about our SUV of the year.